starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, guys, back to Louder Than Podcast, and it is I, the greatest host of them all, Eric, here to talk to you.
Wait, why did
today.
I suggest he do the intro?
Because I am the best. This is your fault. Just remember that. So today we're going to be talking about multiple things, the biggest being QuakeCon, and how we now know that Doom is going to be a pretty sick game. Actually, what else do you guys want to talk? We're talking about today. We're talking about.
Why did I ask you to do the intro?
Oh, this is good. I'm having a good time, guys.
I'm Chris. He's Chris. Eric's an idiot, and Taylor's with us. Oh my fucking god!
Such composure and humility.
Yes. So,
all right, so
QuakeCon.
Okay, so I think it's a sign of the times when Quake is the least interesting part of QuakeCon. Like, did anybody catch what was happening with Champions there?
No,
Dude,
actually, that's
for a while.
I heard snippets of QuakeCon, but I'm basically here to react and give my opinion.
The highlight of Quake Champions at QuakeCon was, hey, we're not charging you for it anymore. Our free-to-play game's actually free now.
Oh, that was the news?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like, which is weird because, like,
Because I heard about that.
You had to pay for it, then went free for like a week, I believe, or 2 weeks, something like that. During each, you had to pay for it again, I believe, and now it's free again. So
all the people that would have been paying attention to this in the first place already got it free during E3, so who cares?
yeah.
Yeah,
all the
I think
suckers
that's
that bought
kind
it
of about
probably
it.
feel bad. I would be so salty if I bought it in that that one little period where you had to pay for it.
There's probably something along the lines of founders passes or contents that you get exclusive as a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't know Quake was still like really that big of a game series.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that like a big like pro gaming scene?
I mean, okay, I feel like that's kind of a tough thing to gather for modern games because on one hand you have way more games vying for exposure, but on the other hand you have way more people aware of things because of the internet. So it's kind of hard to say like, oh, this game is or isn't a big audience because factually there are a lot of people playing it, but I don't think there's a lot of tournaments or anything.
Okay. Because, like, I just don't hear a lot of people talking about Quake, to be honest.
Well, the modern thing doesn't remind me much of the classic versions that I used to play.
Yeah.
It's very much going down the hero shooter, well, so
I mean,
if you're in the mood for
still,
Overwatch...
No, from what I've gathered on the game, it definitely feels like Quake. It just has elements of hero shooter in it, but I don't think it is like full-on hero shooter. I think that the abilities that each character has are pretty secondary to the whole Quake experience. It was like when Halo Reach did loadouts, I never really felt like it was explicitly, okay, this is Call of Duty with a Halo skin now. I really felt like it was just spicing up the beginning of the game so you could get a little more like choice to your weapons and stuff. And then once you're in the game, it felt like Halo. You still had to find the shotguns and the rocket launchers and yada yada.
See,
Gotcha.
As far as loadouts, like equipment, weapons, that kind of stuff goes, I can get with you. But the thing is, hero abilities are what really throws me off in a Quake game. Because it should be all about the skill and the gear that you find in the level.
But
It's
what
all
I'm
about that
saying
rocket
is,
jumping.
I think it still is.
I mean, has anyone here played Quake, the new Quake yet?
No, but I've
Curiosity, or
seen
we-
like extensive gameplay of it, and the hero abilities really didn't seem like they like ruined the Quake feel.
Yeah, all my knowledge is secondhand, I'll admit, because even though I got the game during the E3 event, I still couldn't play it after the fact because I waited a week.
Okay.
I
What would waiting a week have done?
Apparently it screwed up the activation somehow, because even though I downloaded it during the window, I couldn't get into it after the fact. It just, when I opened up the Bethesda Net launcher, which is a whole other thing we'll bring up, it didn't actually give me an option to play game, only buy now.
Cool.
And now you can't even buy it, so I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been like
That'd be a
double
little salty.
terrible. I mean, I'm sure they would have like done something for you if you opened a support ticket after buying it, but it still doesn't excuse the fact that it's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I think the most I can say about Quake Champions is that it's trying to bring back a competitive shooter that doesn't necessarily have this overly esportsy team team comp type thing going to it. Like, even though they have all these hero abilities to it, it still emphasizes the solo queue rather than like teams.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Quake, okay, Arena was viably team-based, but Quake in general has always been a very deathmatchy type of game, like just get in, kill everyone, get out. And this, I feel like esports trends are leaning more towards,
Team?
yeah, team-based stuff. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word team for some reason.
Yeah, whether it's Overwatch or Rainbow Six Siege, it's very much team-based nowadays. Even
Right.
CSGO, it's not just, I forget the name of the mode, but for CSGO, it's always terrorists versus counter-terrorists. It's never a matter of solo queue players making the headlines.
Yeah.
And like, I think I haven't really watched like the pro match, but I know like on the higher ranks, people always stick together, no matter what.
Right.
Or
So
you'll
yeah,
die
I think
horrible
it's
death.
it's already an interesting spot for Quake to be in, that it's a frantic single, well, not single player, but like single member deathmatch experience.
Yeah, I just wish they had more to the convention than, hey, here's the game that our convention is named after. You don't have to pay for it now.
Isn't
Yeah.
that great? So random.
And I'm surprised they got to it before, what's it called? Fortnite Save the World did. I mean, the Battle Royale is going to be free in that thing until Hell freezes over, but they're still not doing that zombie horde construction mode yet for...
Is that still being developed?
Is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Dude, I kind of like ignore Fortnite. To be honest.
I mean, it's funny too because I found out about it when it was
The survival, right?
the survival game. They didn't even have
Yeah.
a battle royale, and I watched
That's when
it.
I played it.
Yeah, and I was like, this is bad. This is very bad.
I remember talking to you about it, I think.
Yeah,
You're like,
and
that
we were
game
just
sucks.
like, we were like, what are they trying to do with this? I don't get it. It was just extremely lost on me in every way possible.
And then they went
Like
for...
the base concept was actually kind of cool. Like, you know, you build shelter and try and keep out a horde, and you fight the horde. It was a decent concept, but it looked a little janky, and dude,
It played a little janky.
the amount of currencies that you could buy with real money, my god.
I mean, even the old magazines I had that were advertising the game's original form, it just like, 4-6 years ago, and they could not get that off the ground. But Battle Royale took off, they introduced Save the World mode, and suddenly it's one of the best-selling games in the world.
Quote unquote selling.
Yeah.
Well, microtransactions count towards that apparently nowadays, because it's like Quake Champions. You don't actually have to sell the game to get publicity or profits.
Yeah. Also, this
Well-
is the cynic in me, but I wouldn't be surprised if they...
Guys,
What?
guys.
What?
Ah, okay. That's weird.
What?
Sorry about that. For some reason, your stream unpaused for me, Chris, and then I just heard you twice.
Oh, no.
I got
was
disconnected for 10 seconds. I'm trying to figure out what's going wrong.
I was very confused. I was like, what is happening?
But,
Alright, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. What was I gonna say?
The cynic in you,
Oh
games
yeah,
free to play.
the cynic in me honestly kind of believes that they kept printing the Save the World discs and the ones they were selling for like $60 at GameStop solely to fool children who wanted to get the game.
Yeah, and they're also
And I
actually...
don't even have anything like against Epic Games. as a company. I honestly
Oh,
think
hey, Mom.
that there's absolutely no way they actually thought they were going to sell Save the World discs after the Battle Royale came out. I think they were trying to get people to buy them when they really wanted the Battle Royale.
I'm trying to remember where it was. It was either July or maybe even June, where there were articles coming out saying that you should get the Save the World mode and the like zombie horde mode thing. Like you should pay for the horde mode just to get bonus currency for Battle Royale. Like
wait. Say that again. I have to reprocess that. That
it was
Save the
articles
World
about a month or two ago where people were saying, "Hey, if you like Fortnite, then you should get the horde mode, the zombie survival. I don't remember what it's called. Just the base Fortnite game. You should buy that just to get bonus currency for Battle Royale."
Wow.
It got to the point where even the people that like the game were just treating it as a tack on, much less the people making it.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, dude. Like, I kind of like mode, but like,
You kind of liked what?
I kind of like the horde mode, but it was definitely not worth like 60. I was hoping it would evolve into something better over time, but
And
then
it just,
became
they
Battle Royale.
abandoned it by the time the Battle Royale trend caught on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was speculating that it might go 1.0 and they stopped charging for it last month because they were putting it on sale for half off. But it looks like they're still trying to go on it. I mean, they're not adding to it anytime soon, so they don't want to reduce how much they're charging, I guess.
Yeah.
Chris, that's what you get for having faith.
Yeah, right?
Part of
How
me still
dare
wants
you?
to try it, but I know I'm taking my time, I guess.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
So
Danke. But yeah, I honestly think they were just trying to kind of, because dude, I would see like I can't tell how true they were, but I would see posts of like tweets or YouTube videos of like kids like bugging their parents to buy Fortnite in the store because they wanted to play the Battle Royale with their friends, and I'm just thinking, ooh, that's
Did you see the video of the kid using religion against his mom?
no.
What?
Yeah, he's like, Jesus said, like, if you ask, you shall get the bread that you need to live, or something like that. And he's like, this is my bread, Mom. This is my bread.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I think that's about as real as the people buying like $500 off their parents' credit cards. I don't buy it.
Right.
I feel like there has to be someone who's like stealing their mom's credit card and then just dumping money into it. Like, I'm not saying it's a common occurrence, but I'm saying like I can totally see that happening.
No, to be fair, I'm sure it absolutely happens. It's just, of course there's going to be people on the internet saying it happens every single day with every child under 12, but like, it happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Tide Pods where like not a lot of people do it, and then everyone's like, everyone's doing it.
Right. Doesn't mean no one does it, but
Yeah. But yeah, so
So that's about as
that's
interesting as
Quake.
Quake Champion gets. We actually talk about Fortnite more than it by choice.
yeah,
really.
For a moment, I was like, wait, how did we get to Fortnite?
Hey man, at least we talked about it to shit on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
we got to
Not be
maintain
like,
our
best game ever.
cred somehow, our street cred.
Yeah. All the street cred I have.
So now that the namesake of QuakeCon is out of the way, we can talk about the actual mildly interesting products. We'll save the best for last, but we still have Rage 2 and Fallout 76.
Okay, so
So-
what went on with those? I heard some news about Vault 76 lately. Wasn't it like they're going to make trolling part of the game?
It's a really shallow bounty system, though. You could basically get the same thing in 2013 out of GTA 5.
Yeah.
Isn't
where
it the
it-
same thing that they did in Elder Scrolls Online, though?
I was going to say, Eric, please say GTA 5. Give me a reason to hate you.
Oh, I didn't really play GTA 5 online.
No. It's just because Chris had literally just said it.
Oh, okay.
It would have been too funny for you to actually say that, like, unironically, not listening. No, but, sorry. So what was your actual point?
Oh, no, I believe, like, I haven't played it since the beta, but from, like, news I've heard, that Elder Scrolls Online has a kind of mode so I guess we should talk about what they're doing in 76 first before we go off on other games, right?
Okay.
76 got a massive info dump, and it just reassured me that this is not a game for people that like the narrative-driven Fallouts.
Yeah. This is
Go
more
on.
of a, like, if you like the whole base building part of 4, then you're gonna love this.
Yeah, it's like from the outset, just their charisma seal was one of the only specials they went into, and they showed that it has nothing to do with what charisma would be for in a regular game. There's bartering, but it's with other players, not NPCs, so you don't have to worry about leveling your speech or having these dialogue checks with other characters.
Yeah, because you're not bartering
going...
with anybody who you're fooling with an RNG dice roll.
Yeah, the robots aren't going to barter with you. They're just as like holotape dispensers for quests.
Ew. Not
Ew,
even the
indeed,
love bots?
Eric.
Not the love bots?
No, Fisto's still retired in Vegas.
No! Not Fisto.
Hey, he earned it.
He did a good job.
We assumed the position, and he always delivered.
Yep. Like a machine.
So, like, just the idea that the charisma's been gutted so far that it's like this special that's only good if you're playing in a group.
Great.
And they didn't show off much, but they had a lot of things like card-based to explain how they're going to do their perk system. And they said that it's going to only be available via level up, not microtransactions. But
okay, see, that's a better sign.
Here's the thing, though. It still looks like a terrible perk system, and this is coming after Fallout 4, where that was already a bad perk system.
That was a very disappointing one.
Okay, fair.
I'll completely agree with you on that. But let's talk about how they're this, online game. It's gonna be trolls. So they're gonna have like a bounty system, more or less. So if I believe if someone kills you, it raises the bounty on their head, and set your weapons to, I think it's called neutral. I could be wrong, but you can set your gun so it doesn't actually harm other players. So if you're attacking people, you're intentionally attacking people.
It seems dumb to me, though, because, I haven't engaged the target, so spontaneously, me shooting them in the head is like a spitball compared to the actual sniper rifle I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those weird concessions for gameplay that I guess they're trying to make somewhat sensible, but they're failing categorically from what I've seen so far.
I feel like
if you just got snuck up on by it,
any game like Fallout that has high-powered weaponry, or honestly, like, okay, so PvP has worked in MMOs, and the way they usually accomplish that is through zones. Zones that,
yes.
If you're not PvPing, you don't go there. You will not have a good time.
Never.
Yeah. So that being said, it seems like their idea is to take it somewhat the GTA route, and instead of the player saying, I don't want to be killed, I'm going, quote, invulnerable, the player who is doing the killing is saying, I don't want to be the guy, shooting people. But
the thing is, though, even going to the GTA comparisons, ignoring Fallout for the time being, even the GTA comparisons, if you just get one-offed by a random sniper shot in GTA 5 or GTA Online, that's enough. It doesn't matter if you have a bulletproof vest or not. It doesn't matter if you are any kind of obstacle, unless you are directly in the passive mode.
Is that games like this are very tough to do PvP, in my opinion, because we're not talking like something like WoW, where you can get aggroed by a spell, and it's like, oh wait, we're fighting. No, if you don't see the guy behind you with a sniper rifle, that was your chance. You're dead. You had no chance to win this PvP fight.
So on the bright side, when you do inevitably die to like an asshole just sniping you across the map, you don't drop your core items.
Okay, so what do you drop?
You don't drop bottle caps, you don't drop your core equipment, you drop scrap, apparently, which is crafting mats.
Well, then you kind of run into another problem, which I prefer it that way, but what are the stakes of killing somebody then, or dying?
Apparently it's just supposed to be for titillation, and they've also tried saying over and over that if your base gets caught in a nuclear blast or raiders attack it, then you don't have to worry about it. As long as you have scrap, you can always rebuild it. Doesn't matter what happens. It's like they want to have the consequences, but not actually force people to stick to them.
Yeah, they want to say, like, oh, your base can get destroyed by enemy raiders, but you could just rebuild it in 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, then, I mean, yeah, it's cool that you, like, yes, role-playing wise, I get how it's cool to go up to somebody and, you know, oh, I destroyed the shit out of your base, nerd. Yeah, it's cool, it's fun, but part of what makes it fun is the consequence of you have to go through all the trouble of rebuilding it. You know, EVE Online didn't make the news because there was no consequences for the ship damage. They made the news because it was millions of real dollars in damage.
Yeah, and not just people investing their money in the game. We got to the point where
I'm not saying it has to be money, but, you know.
We had people outside of the game attacking power transformers to try and cut other players out.
What?
We had literal monuments to the player base that was installed early on, and people were going to other countries just to vandalize it.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yep.
That's amazing.
EVE is hardcore, what can I tell you?
EVE is scary, dude. I don't think I could be friends with a serious EVE player just because there's got to be something wrong with them.
Spreadsheets for days. Bam.
And the stupid thing is, I love that, but I can't do it because EVE is so damn dense.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's
what I
not
mean.
just
Like,
a curve for difficulty, it's a wall.
I
And
get
so
why
it's
it's
like the
fun,
endgame.
but I don't get why it's fun.
And like the end game is like actual years of commitment.
Yeah, like this is Dark Souls for Microsoft Excel fanboys. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. How can you get into it?
Yeah.
Excel's pretty cool.
I mean, Excel is a fantastic program. I'm a fan. That being
I'll get
said,
behind you.
what?
I just said word to that.
I hate you.
Okay, you got your power play. Now point out what you wanted to.
Okay, you used point twice, so I'll take comfort in the fact that your pun sucked.
I'm sorry, you've already used the easy one. I can't excel with all the good options.
Oh god. Burn it with fire.
Does it count as a public threat on the internet if I tell Chris I'm gonna burn his house down?
No, just say you're playing EVE. It'll be fine.
Okay.
If you could do it with lemons, that would be great.
I
But
actually
you also have to
forgot
sound
my
like J.K.
real
Simmons.
point. Chris, this is your fault. You had where was I?
God damn it, Chris. Yay,
No
I can say it
idea.
now. Yay, finally it's not my fault.
Wait, Chris, seriously though, where was I?
We were trying to discuss the different gameplay concessions in order to achieve online play for a game like Fallout. or
Right.
GTA
Oh
or
yeah, I was trying to until you fucking ruined my entire day in one fell swoop. No, so it's tough because most PvP style games tend to be they have stakes, but the stakes aren't so high as you didn't look every single tree around you for the guy with one sniper rifle bullet that was going to end your fucking life. It was, I've been aggroed, I have a chance.
Fallout 76 doesn't look like it's willing to take the risks, though. It seems like the only concession it's willing to make is the players from the old games.
Yeah. And
Which is
then like
kind of a big concession.
Did they?
This is more or less just. This is like literally just ESO, but for Fallout.
Well, did they confirm that it was a side game and not a main entry?
That is a good question.
I feel like I heard something about that, but I could be talking entirely out of my ass. But
They
if this
said
is...
they gave it the name Fallout 76 because they didn't want it to be confused with the mainline numbered entries. Like, they named this one after the vault, not just, like, the number in chronological history.
Right, so, like, I think as a side game, this could be neat, but a lot of things are looking bleak.
Dire.
Yeah. Like, you're doing an entirely PvP-based world without PvP-based consequences. They're not accounting, it seems, for the lack of narrative in a narratively driven universe. Again, I think I've said this before. I think it's okay that you're taking the narrative out, but they're not putting anything in its place.
Yeah, I mean, all this is going to be is environmental storytelling, like walking into the Dunwich building in Fallout 3, and everything is done by consoles or just by the items left around in specific configurations. That can be done well, but making the entire game that instead of just a couple of zones, I do not see how they're going to balance it.
Yeah, I really don't either. It seems like it's a big, this sounded good on paper situation. But we'll see. Alright, so what's next?
Next up would be Rage 2, which honestly, I don't think there's a lot of information on, but we got to see more gameplay, and it's a weird observation, bear with me for a moment.
Okay.
I think that they haven't updated the AI to respond to the fact you have powers as a player. They still behave like you're just going at them with guns.
Oh, so what you're saying is, like, let me try and interpret this a little bit. Let's use another game with guns and powers, right? BioShock. Now, you're saying that, like, in a true accounted for situation, a modern AI would say, wait, he has electricity in his hand. I should dodge his bullets, but stay clear of water.
Precisely.
Whereas Rage is just like, he has a gun, but might run into the water and just give you an easy way to shock him.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you see that gave you those fears?
It's like they were showing off the power slam ability, and enemies would continue to just hide behind cover even though you had a concussive effect with it, so you could knock them out of cover. They didn't try to put any distance between them and you.
Right, so they were literally just giving you free chances to power slam them instead of saying, like, oh, I should be smarter about this and use distance instead of cover.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to stay here and not shoot you and give you an easy opening.
So this is going to turn into one of those games where it's like, what was the other example I had in my head? Where, kind of like Saints Row, where, like, the cars are cool, but they're really just there for show.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Saints Row 4,
although that was
cars are
self-aware about it, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's like a not self-aware version of that where, hey guys, the guns are cool, but just power slam everybody for the whole game and you really won't have a hard time.
Yeah, and I wanted to use Saints Row 4, but I think Saints Row 3 might actually be a better example, because as long as you're able to grapple other NPCs and take them as human shields, you are literally invincible until you get down to the last enemy.
Right.
Because the AI in that game doesn't understand flanking.
Huh. This is going to be interesting for Rage, because AI for enemies has gotten so much more advanced, but it seems like this is a very big, like... I don't want to over criticize it, but, like, this is almost PS2 era, like, simplicity.
Well, Blizzard is a grandpa company.
I mean, true.
I mean, it's not Colonial Marines bad where every enemy thinks they're just in a tunnel because they don't understand the environment they're in. But
no, it's not that bad, but, like, come on.
I mean, it's not a high bar to meet if that's all you're thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. Do you think that they have... When is Rage supposed to release?
This year or early next year? I don't remember the release date.
Okay, so I think they could still have time. And you always have to give them benefit of the doubt that maybe they're showing an older tech demo. Not older, like, obviously you want to show what's up to date. But, like, they might not have been showing this off with the AI in mind. They might have just been trying to show off.
Look, our cute, cool shooty pew pew guns.
Yeah, look, we made new shooty guns, we made new powers, not how the AI is going to react to them.
Yeah, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I had to really think on that for why the AI bothered me. It's just like, the enemies don't behave the way I think they should from the footage I've seen. Everything else seems
competent. And you were trying to think why that could be.
Yeah, I mean, competence is one thing, but there's nothing to get me excited about Rage 2. It just seems like Rage 1 with a color palette.
Right.
Still, though, I mean...
Also, not for nothing, I don't have anything against the style. It looks pretty alright. But I much preferred the Mad Max gritty style of the first one.
I've never actually played a Rage game.
Me either.
Well, no, I mean from what I've seen of it. Like, I never got around to playing it either because when I bought it, my computer wasn't quite up to snuff, admittedly. But
I had an okay time with it. I never 100%ed it, but they had good voice actors. I remember John Goodman was one of the first NPCs you ran into.
Yo.
Oh, that's pretty rad.
There was a Wolfenstein Easter egg where you actually went into like a poly-style 3D Wolfenstein level.
That's cool.
Hey, they did it before Wolfenstein did.
Yep.
But no, and like Rage, Rage 2 is looking like one of those things. Like, I want to know if you guys have noticed this too, or if it's literally like me just not knowing what I'm talking about. But I feel like when companies take something that was like grittier and like more neutral colored and stuff, and they do that whole wild over the top coloring, it's desperate.
It's an overreaction.
What?
It's an overreaction.
Yeah,
I remember during the modern
I get
military
people
shooter
saying
craze,
Rage might have been a little bland, even though I personally don't agree. But that's valid. It's a valid criticism. But you know, being like, okay, we're gonna color everything like Jinx from League, like that's a bit of an overreaction.
I feel like that's like the Suicide Squad syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
during the overreaction to the modern military shooters, there was this whole big thing about people not liking that everything was brown or gray. They were attempting to chase realism at the cost of the design for visuals, and
Right.
this seems like just a massive overcorrection.
Right, I agree. Where like
It's like you don't need to do like a complete 180. Just like change it up a bit.
yeah, you can give
Yeah.
things little bits of color. Like, I mean, I'm of course gonna struggle thinking of something because I'm a moron, but
I will say, like, when Team Fortress 2 came out, it was in the middle of, like, the whole Modern Warfare shooter craze.
Team Fortress is a good example. It's not so cartoony that it's unbearable.
Yeah, it's, like, the right level. It was, like, it was, like, a nice splash of color in the dark world.
Right. And even, like, for as much as I don't really play the game regularly anymore, I'll give credit to Overwatch, you know? Like, the characters are animated. They're very, I mean, you know, everybody says the word Pixar comes to mind. And that's valid, because it is a very Pixar style. But the characters aren't like, whoa, goofy. Like, no, they have... And that's where the criticism of Hammond came in, was you're giving us this game that has balanced, you know, emotional characters where, you know, Roadhog and Junkrat are kind of like the yin and yang to each other. And, you know, Tracer is goofy, but she has a very serious side to her where she, you know, it takes her job very seriously. Reinhardt is very stoic, but also the funny old man. And then you just give us like a jabbering hamster. It's, you know, it's kind of too goofy. And that's kind of what Rage is to me, is you gave us this really, really, what's the adjective I'm trying to think of? This very bleak, you know, Mad Max style auto apocalypse. And then you made it, you know, Junkrat eats cotton candy, the game. And I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm looking forward to Rage 2, but the tone isn't exciting me very much at all. Because, like, you know, which one of you said Suicide Squad?
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's basically new Harley Quinn, the game. And that did not entice me at all either, so... They're one Daddy's Little Monster shirt away from just ruining this whole operation.
I think that this is, well, we're going to talk about it later if we have time with Activision-Blizzard, but I think this is how they're trying to add a surface-level characteristic to the product to make it appear as though it has the feature. In this case, they're adding a vibrant neon color palette to appear as if it has personality and vibrance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I miss when that subtlety was through the writing or, you know, the characters' outfits. Instead of being in your face and saying, look how colorful it is. You can't fucking miss our personality. Yeah, but I'd like to.
Mm.
I'm hoping that they keep some of the ingenuity from the first game. I want the vehicle sections gone, but they're still advertising them. The vehicles were not good in that game, and they even had a multiplayer mode just for the vehicles. But as far as they keeping the wing sticks for like their ranged but not gun-based options, they've got a good base to work off of. Their melee wasn't a lot to write home about, but their ranged combat with the guns and the wing sticks was solid. Explosives were hit or miss.
I heard that the vehicle play had potential. It just wasn't that great. But I wouldn't think people would want it gone. I would think people would want it reworked and upgraded. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, there was potential in there, but the thing is that when they made it mandatory to use vehicles because everything was so spread out, and then they made the vehicles so unwieldy, it just did not jive for me. And I'm terrible at vehicle sections in most games to start with, so an unwieldy
Do you think
vehicle
part
section
of that
was
is a
mandatory.
bias against wanting vehicle sections back?
I mean, a vehicle section done well is something I'll play anyway. I mean,
Okay.
I have a couple of racing games installed right now. It's just not what I go for.
I just wanted to make sure, like, because I wouldn't blame you if, like, driving games were just literally like, no, I never fucking play them and I never will. Like, that's fine.
For me, that's sport games like FIFA or Madden. But
Yeah, same here on those.
Oh, that was a pit. Oops. Honestly, like, sport games I can get into, but that's, you know what, I think that's an interesting topic for another day. I'll wait. But yeah, no, I think Rage is overcompensating for sure.
So yeah, I think that's all we can say about Rage. Is there anything else from QuakeCon we want to talk about, or
was there anything else for Fallout 76 before we move on? Because once we get to the final topic, I'm not going to move off of it for a while.
Okay.
Oh god.
Did you guys want to say anything about Fallout?
I'm hoping. Oh, do we know if it's gonna be a one-time purchase or subscription fee, or how's that
I
gonna
think
work?
it's one-time purchase, but don't ask me where or when I heard that.
They're selling a
honestly don't know.
$60 boxed copy, but I do not know how they're doing with the microtransactions or the subscriptions, if any.
I really hope it's not like gonna gouge out the fans' wallets.
Right. I mean,
I'm hoping
honestly,
it's gonna be kind of like an ESO style, where like you buy it and then you can pay per month for like more crowns.
I don't
Like,
see
okay.
anything like for as much as Bethesda's taken some interesting steps lately. I don't see anything killing their single player market or corrupting it with microtransactions to like high heaven or anything like that by experimenting with online games. So I will say that I accept Fallout as an experiment in, you know, taking their single player worlds and making an online variant. Like, for example, if this goes well, maybe we'll see something cool set in the Quake or the Doom universe. That could be really fucking cool. You know,
Yo,
play as...
seeing a Doom?
Dude, it would be
Wow.
Alliance versus Horde.
Oof.
Do you mean that oof in a good way?
A little hesitant because the current Alliance versus Horde is very questionable, but
Well, I'm not saying Blizzard's doing it. God, like, oh no, but in all seriousness though, like I think that would be a really cool dynamic. That, you know, you could pick Demon Army, you could have you know, characters that you have to play on servers that were either demon based or marine based. You could, Christ, I don't know. What was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, the Quake universe. You know, aliens versus again, what is it? Is it still Marines in Quake? I forget.
I could not tell you.
Well, in any event, you know, you could go back to that. It's a cool experiment, and if those things all tanked, I don't see it ruining the Quake or Doom franchises. I don't see it changing the whole direction. Even if they're successful and good, I don't see them stopping and saying like, well, this worked, guess we don't have to make the single player shit anymore. You know, I welcome the experiment, because I think that at the end of the day, what kills franchises is true greed and not experimentation. I think if anything destroys the integrity of these single player campaign based series, it will be, you know, Bethesda going, well, we don't really give a shit about integrity anymore. It will not be success driving, you know, oh, well, you know, our wallets are bigger because of this, because otherwise they would have put loot boxes into Doom 2016. You know what I mean? If that were really the case.
Yeah, they are very far-reaching, though. I mean, you used Doom Universe early on. That was the word that kept coming up at the convention. Where it's like,
Really?
this is not just the one game. This is the entire connected property, or however they phrased it.
Right.
Like, Elder Scrolls right now has single-player RPGs and online MMO. It has a card game. It's going to be getting the mobile game soon, and it has an Amazon Echo app.
Yep.
Woo!
Right,
Fallout
and so like
similarly
if you,
has single player, online, mobile, and it hasn't gone full Alexa yet, but they are spreading themselves very thin.
they're spreading themselves thin, but it seems like they still have just enough of an idea of what's going on that if you don't like any of the other shit, you're just like the single-player Elder Scrolls games, there's still a good market for you. They're still putting out good content, and you could just ignore all the other shit. But you're right, they are risking spreading themselves thin, and I'm not denying that in any way, shape, or form.
Well, just this past week, actually, they announced, not Bethesda directly, but a Japanese company working with them, that they're doing a Fallout Shelter Online. Do you remember that quaint little tie-in game to advertise Fallout 4 before it came out?
Yeah.
That's apparently still a big deal for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
they announced like updates at E3.
And, like, it's one thing to update the game, but to make it, like... Now you're turning an offshoot game into its own property, and I'm not saying that that's always a bad idea, because I'm sure that's happened before to great success. But it wasn't from companies that were balancing, like, 5 universes with multiple IPs each, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, of all things, this reminds me of the actual superhero movie craze, where Warner Brothers was chasing Marvel. They didn't just want to make a good superhero movie or a good Justice League movie. They wanted to make a good superhero interconnected fiction.
Yeah.
And
it tainted the
really
overall
long,
quality of the products.
that's a long tail to chase.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we move on to the best part of QuakeCon. Doom.
Oh boy.
Now, I'm going to try and stay calm, collected, and potentially pleasant during this conversation, but it got me really excited. It was the best part of QuakeCon.
So tell me everything I need to know about Doom Eternal, because
Same here.
I missed some of the news articles, except that there's an extra life system that's interesting.
I'll get to that, but it's fast, it's brutal, it's precise, it's actually funny, just all around entertaining.
Huh.
And I'm so excited. Like, when I first looked up the game, it's like, this got me excited. I tried to look at more info about it, Doom controversy, and I actually had to stop and think because there were several things that could have been controversial about it, but I enjoyed it all the same. It's like, the first thing that came to mind was the Slayer shotgun, where, hang on, what did they do to that? Is that a bayonet, or, oh, it's an underslung grappling hook? And it adds a lot of platforming stuff to Doom that you wouldn't expect, where instead of you navigating the environment to get to the enemy, you're pulling yourself directly to them.
And that's interesting coming from a game that started with no jump button or aiming.
So what happened after that? The extra life system, which we never saw the player in the trailer die, so we don't know how that's going to work.
Okay.
What else? Let's see.
I just heard a lot of people getting really hyped for this.
Yeah.
Well, wait. So what is the extra life system supposed to be, though?
They did not say. They had like some arcade elements to it. Like, it seems like there's more power-ups around, but they also made the Doomslayer more powerful from the outset, which
Well,
people were
just
saying that
maybe,
basically makes the
like-
demon seem weaker, but it could just be the main character getting stronger as the series progresses.
There
And-
could just be something in place to like pick up something for like points when you reach X amount of points.
Hang on,
like-
let me Google it, because I saw an article that, like, seemed like it would explicitly outline it.
Let me know if you find it, because I don't know if that's for like an Iron Man mode on the
Right.
highest difficulty, or if that's
PC
supposed to
Gamer?
be for,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
see
know,
what
you
PC
instantly
Gamer
res
says.
after you drop in a level. Because the Doom 2016 did not have a life system.
Let's see. Alright, there was an extra life power-up that briefly appeared.
Oh, it says it briefly appeared on screen. I guess in the gameplay trailer.
He's since explained it's like their checkpoint system. Oh, okay. Okay, this is a quote from Doom Eternal's executive producer Marty Stratton via PC Gamer, thank you. So if you're almost to another checkpoint or you're in a boss fight or something, your extra life, if you die, kicks in and the screen goes gray and you're invulnerable for a little bit. You can keep fighting, reposition yourself, and you're right back in the action where you left off without losing any progress. So in other words,
Good to know. They did not explain that.
What?
I'm saying that's good to know, because they did not explain that at all.
I think that's a really cool idea, because extra lives, right? Like, they're a hold off from the arcade era. It was, oh, you're out of lives, you gotta spend more money. Or, at the very least, when consoles started coming out, it was, okay, well, the games are short, we have to add challenge somehow. You have to beat it on, like, a suite of 9 lives across 3 continues, right? Like, If you lose a life, you start at the beginning of the stage. If you lose a continue, you start at the beginning of the world. And then it got to the point where with game saves and stuff, lives were kind of pointless. You know, look at Mario 64. If you lose all your lives, the punishment is going back to the title screen, not losing any progress. All it did was ensure that you knew how to save your game. Because if you didn't
from a design perspective, it was very much them trying to compensate for the lack of coin op.
Wait, say that again? Sorry?
From a design perspective, it was very much them trying to find a way to compensate for the removal of the coin op, where they couldn't just pump quarters into the machine.
Right, and you know, also in a way, I'm not giving them this much credit to say it was on purpose, but it was really just an overcomplicated tool at that point to make sure you knew how the save system worked. Because if, you know, Mario 64, you didn't save your game and you lost all your lives, you go back to the title screen, you have no save to reload. But as long as you were careful with your saving, the lives were extremely pointless. So, that being said, this is a really interesting concept because you have all these very polite checkpoint locations, but if you pick up an extra life, you go, oh shit, I should have seen that bullet. Well, now you get a second chance before you have to go straight back to the checkpoint.
Yeah.
You know what this new new life system reminds me of? Like, really a lot?
What?
The system in Borderlands.
How did that work? I forget. It's been a while since I played.
When your health went down, you wouldn't just die. The screen would go gray, and if you kill, and you could like kind of like limp your way over. You can still attack, and if you kill someone, you would get I think like 25% of your health back.
Okay.
Right, I think I remember
The fight
that.
for your life mode was basically a way to auto-res yourself, but it got shorter with each progressive time, so you were encouraged to take some risks, but you couldn't just head to the front line and run and gun everything 100% of the time.
You think that stopped me?
Risk assessment.
Chris, you think that stopped me?
It didn't teach Eric about risk assessment, but
So it's more of like it's more of a second chance, not necessarily an extra life, because an extra life implies you're like restarting from the from a checkpoint.
Whereas, yeah, this is more like, hey, you're not actually dying. It's more like a what's the thing I'm thinking of actually? Like a like Fairy in a Bottle and Slay the Spire, but a little more forgiving. Like, hey, if you die, instead of dying, we bring you back.
Yeah. It's like, oh, here's 10% more health that you didn't know you had.
Exactly. So that's pretty cool. Okay, that's really innovative. So okay,
Yeah,
what
nice.
else?
Keep
Keep getting me
show
hype.
off. The platforming, the grappling hook. People were saying they finally got the plasma blaster right. I want to know what footage they watched, because that is still a weak-ass plasma blaster. Even compared to the quick-scoping rifle they had going in and out of the what do you call it, scope?
Mm-hmm.
They had some really solid weapons in there, and then they had some real filler stuff to boot. So they haven't gotten the formula quite right for 100% arsenal, but then you saw that rocket launcher, and you gushed. You wanted to love it.
That's it.
And then you saw the Demon Laser Claymore, and you just want to take this entire package home, stroke its hair, coo to it, tell it sweet nothings about white picket fences, and all the blood you're going to gush over said white picket fence as you torment all of hell.
You sound like me when I play Monster Hunters. The blood will run red today. I mean, the rivers will run red today.
I like this excitement coming from you guys. This is very, very welcome.
I haven't been this excited for a game in a long time, and to think it's Doom of all things, I had no expectations for the 2016 Doom, and it was one of the best games that came out that year.
Right.
Do you think? Wait. First of all, Chris, how fast are you going to drop for like the greatest special edition of this game?
I would need money for that, unfortunately. If anybody's feeling charitable, I'll probably go for the knock your nuts off premium.
That's what it's called?
No, I don't know what it's called. They haven't announced it yet.
Oh, okay. That sounds like something they would actually name it.
I mean, that to be fair, Eric has a point. And you know I would only say that if he really had a point.
Okay, that's fair.
By the way, speaking of Doom, I really want another Serious Sam to come.
I wouldn't say he's dead yet, so I think that's likely.
Like, they just came out with a VR version, but
yeah,
it's meh.
But no,
Yeah,
I mean,
VR.
I know that's not necessarily indicative of a sequel, but like, I think that's enough proof that they're not just letting the IP rot and die.
Yep. Oh man, but yeah. So I'm pretty excited that we have a good game.
Was there anything else with Doom that you guys want to hear about?
I mean, did they debut any like really cool enemies or something?
What they debuted that I thought was going to be the biggest controversy was that you can get other players to invade your world via NPC possession.
Oh yeah.
Yo, so like I can play as an imp and try and fuck with you?
An imp, revenant, a hell lord, you name it.
See, like
that's awesome.
As long as you can turn it off, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, my concern with that though is that people were talking about it being like Dark Souls with the invasion mechanic, or Demon Souls, or Bloodborne. It reminds me more of Resident Evil 6 or Mindjack, because it has to be an NPC.
Right.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of Left 4 Dead, actually. Because I believe in Left 4 Dead, you could actually play as one of the boss creatures.
Well, that was the versus mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would be like one of the special undead, and then you could get the tank and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, you're right. It's more like dude, Mindjack. That's a fucking game I haven't heard in fucking years. But yeah,
Would you ever think you would hear it compared to Doom on purpose?
And like, not cynically.
I would have never bet on it, but that's what came to mind.
But no, I think it's a really cool idea, and I'm glad they're giving that a shot.
So the last thing, if you really want to delve into the nitty-gritty of what people loved and didn't love about the game, I already talked about this stuff that I thought would be controversial. Apparently people are really annoyed at the satirical humor in this game, just from the gameplay footage shown already.
Like, they are right now annoyed at it, or they were and this alleviated them?
I mean, people calling it an alt-right apologist type satire level of annoyed right now.
Oh,
so
boy.
What?
The game included some jabs at how. Let me see if I can pull up the exact quotes. It's like, everything might seem like it's hectic right now, but please stay calm. We are working on it. Meanwhile, you should see literal hell on Earth.
Wait, that was
The demons are on Earth. While the Doom Slayer is killing people in that like welcome center, you get stuff like, "Demon may be an offensive term to some. Please call our new guests mortally challenged."
That's really funny.
like
And my personal favorite is, "Please help us in welcoming our new guests to this world, so their transition can be a peaceful one." Meanwhile, the Doom guy is currently ripping some dude's head off with his his predator arm spike.
I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a gag on like customer service more than immigration politics.
Yeah, but you cannot tell that to Twitter right now because they're convinced that this is Doom dog whistling to the American right.
Dude, straight up, like, Chris, I'm not sure if you're up to the current episodes of Northern Lions saga, but like you just talk about like how like almost like everything nowadays, like movies, games, are just all like, even if you're not like aiming for it, they just become political for no reason. And it's just so stressful over time.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, this is
because,
coming
like,
from this is coming from the same publisher as Wolfenstein. Hold on, I gotta get the box because they still fucked up the names. Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Change more than one word in your sequels. Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, where the primary marketing campaign for that was punch Nazis.
That's a good marketing campaign.
Yeah, well, not when you have Gen Con attendees acting it out to the point where they're assaulting innocent convention goers.
I guess that is a problem.
But that beside the point, it's like this game is riding a bit of controversy right now, and I'm surprised it's the marketing more than the gameplay stuff because they are taking some risks.
Yeah. Well, but also, social controversy will always outweigh design controversy.
Yeah, I keep perpetually underestimating social media,
Yeah.
and I have to stop acting surprised.
Dude, literally anything would set off social media. So just like be like, oh, I wonder what this game's gonna have. Like, the only company I know that doesn't pull off nonsense like this is Nintendo.
And even then, I've seen some extreme things about princesses.
Yeah, but like, it's not as big as like this was, I guess. Pop in Nintendo.
What else? Oh yeah, Demon Laser Claymore. I just have to keep reminding people that exists, and the fact that that is an upgrade to a chainsaw.
So
I
you're
need
saying, excuse me, are you telling me you're the Highlander?
No, you're the Highlander that Mel Brooks wishes he could. Mel Gibson. Where the hell is my brain?
It's getting jacked.
Yeah, really.
No, that's
you're
my
getting
mind.
jacked?
Also, mind jack. I don't get why the core mechanic is mind hacking, not mind jacking. Do they not even know the name of their own game? I just.
I mean,
Why do I remember
there's
mind
multiple
jack?
reasons that game didn't do well, my friend.
Can somebody just hack my mind to remove it? Because it doesn't do me any good to remember it anymore. Like, even from a so bad it's good perspective, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly too mediocre to be fun.
And you know what to say? I don't want no mediocre.
I mean, it's not as bad as Damnation, but I can't get rid of it. Speaking of Damnation, have either of you two played it?
I'm aware of it. I think I have an art book from it that I got when I used to work at GameStop.
Wait, of what?
Damnation.
Oh no.
It was like a really bland first-person shooter.
It was basically what would happen if you had Stephen King retell the Civil War in a Wolfenstein-esque knockoff.
Which sounds
love it.
infinitely cooler than it ended up being.
Instead,
love
you
it.
get a steampunk South with the Confederacy steamrolling the North with mechs. Meanwhile, the North, the Union, tries to make a comeback as rebel fighters with Indian magic. Like something straight out of the fucking Tommyknockers.
Wait, wasn't this like the plot to Wild Wild West with Will Smith?
Asking
but that
the
could
real
have been
questions.
solid and engaging entertainment. This just gave me an aneurysm.
Valid point. Holy
The
shit.
South shall rise again. Oh, speaking of like, okay, no, I'm not gonna bring it up. It was to, I was gonna say like I saw a new movie that was very uncomfortable to watch with other people, in theaters. But like, no, we're not gonna do that for the show. We'll do it some other time.
Okay.
But like, it's kind of along these lines. But like, it was just like, I watched it and I was like, oh man, this is a heavy movie. It was a good movie, but it was a heavy movie.
Well, tell me what movie it was. I at least need to know that.
The Black Klansman.
Oh, yeah, that is way too big of a jump in topic.
Yeah, it was just like it was like 1960s and it tried to tie with politics going on right now, and it got kind of heavy. So we'll say that for a different time.
Yeah, I heard the Grand Wizard quoted Trump in there, and I haven't seen the movie yet, so
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not to believe it.
He didn't quote him, but he said something very, like, if you change one or two words, more or less.
Did they have someone in the full ghost costume going "Make America Great Again"? Like, is it that bad?
No, he said America first.
I
Maybe
haven't
it's not
seen
a
it. I don't know, so I'll let you know if I see it.
But yeah, so no, let's not talk about this right now. Let's move on to our next topic, which is Activision-Blizzard, right?
Yeah, Chris, give us the skinny on that.
Okay, this one is more a discussion piece than recent events, unless you count the Battle for Azeroth finally dropping. But the thing is, Battle for Azeroth is a staunch reminder that we will never get a single-player Warcraft game ever again, because they are already teasing a new mode coming out called Warfront, which is basically the RTS mode that people have been trying to play for the last 15 years, but Blizzard won't make another game for them. And in this, we're getting a staunch reminder of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, for my taste, where Activision Blizzard, same parent company, but people are acting like Black Ops 4 was the first game under this new age of always online content that argued that we're integrating story into all aspects of our game, so we're not going to have a single player mode so much as we're just making
Well,
We're not having a single
there's
dedicated-
another side to this too, Chris. You remember they said, like, based on Steam statistics and stuff like that, that like most people don't even touch the single player mode in Call of Duty?
I think I remember that, yes.
That was like weirdly telling, but also I don't know how much I bought it.
The thing is, though, it's not as if you're converting the remaining player base over to another game. You're basically just leaving them by the wayside.
Right, but I think their argument was that, well, they're not no one's playing it. They're literally buying it for, you know, the multiplayer aspects exclusively, so why should we even bother putting the time and effort and money into developing it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I am just, straight from the horse's mouth here.
Yeah, I guess the best I can say to that argument is it's removing a feature and not reflecting it in the price point. So we're getting less content, and I don't know a polite way to say it.
And
they're basically
knowing any kind of marketing spin, not just gaming marketing spin, they'll try and spin it that, well, what we're taking away from you, in the omission of single player, we're giving back to you in a more fully fledged multiplayer mode that is now worth your full $60 purchase.
Yeah, but
I don't buy it.
This makes the Warcraft example even more applicable because until 15 years later, they have not made another RTS in that franchise, and even now, it's just a mode that they're teasing. It hasn't even come out yet.
Right.
And I am trying to stay focused on the conversation, but I'm also experimenting with a new deck in Hearthstone, and it's not going well. Let's see. So yeah, we were saying before that Battle for Azeroth has not only had distinct drop-off in quality in terms of the writing, so the people that were there for the story in Warcraft are not being served, but they're also not getting single-player content, they're not getting RTS content, and I think Call of Duty, while screwing up in their most immediate upcoming iteration, they were not the precedent. They were merely a follow-up to a company that's been doing this for over a decade, and people have not been crying out for it because World of Warcraft has this consistent drop-on, drop-off based on the expansion, so it gets very selective coverage.
I don't know, there's always that tough thing when you're dealing with artistic properties where the people who truly fucking loved single player Warcraft for what it uniquely offered, right? If they're not the market anymore, you can't blame them for not wanting to appeal to them. But at the same time, you're also kind of far removed and not giving newer players a chance to see if they like that style. Because you can't expect everybody to go back and play Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean?
I think I see where you're coming from, yeah.
As somebody who loves obscure older games, I admit that I may not be the market anymore for certain things. I mean, I still play a lot of modern games, but for the sake of conversation, appease me here. So, weird old platformers, let's say they never saw an indie revival. I would be pretty much the worst example of the market trend. That doesn't mean, though, that if people haven't played games like, I'm trying to think of actual old obscure platformers and not indie ones. If you haven't played games like Plock or Quackshot or any of those weird fucking games from, action platformer adventure games from the 90s and onward, you might not understand why people like me wish they would come back. That being said, there's also no proof that if they were to, if the modern audience were to play them, that they would say, oh wow, there's something to this. They might say, well, what's the fucking point? We've moved on. So,
you know what kind of game I think falls? Oh, sorry, finish your sentence.
No, I was just gonna say it's tough when you're the audience and not the developer, because market research needs to show that there's at least interest in an attempt at bringing back something like the single-player driven RTS, instead of something more along the lines of what turned into the MOBA. But go on, Eric.
No, I was gonna say I completely agree with your statement. But I feel like sometimes a company needs to take a risk because I believe a bunch of AAA companies thought horror games were dead for the longest time until the indie scene took over.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, look at Ed McMillan with Super Meat Boy. He was like, I'm gonna make a hard 90s platformer again, and that kind of kickstarted the whole trend of wait, people actually still think these games are good. He took a chance because he loved those games. He made one, and it caught on, and it showed people, hey, like, platformers are still a viable genre. But, you know, unfortunately, I see it remaining the indie scene that's going to take those chances.
It has to be, because like AAA games are like, oh, let's pump $10 million into this game, and if we don't get $11 million back, it's a failure, or like $20 million back, it's a failure.
Right.
Square
And like,
Enix,
honestly,
for example, how many millions of copies of the last Tomb Raider games did they sell? It's like 5 million, 7 million, something like that, and it was still not a financial success.
right. And, you know, we did that whole thing about the cost of games and studios and stuff, and I think we all agreed that the budget for games is getting pretty ridiculous, and not in like a good way, like, oh, look at all we can do with this budget. It's more like, look at all we can market, and the game is pretty much above average tech wise.
Yeah, AAA gaming's in the same space as Hollywood right now when it comes to budgeting bloat.
Yeah, but you know, it means that you can sell 5 to 7 million copies and not be successful. And I'm honestly surprised that Brood War got its remaster in this gaming climate.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I know it's a little bit off topic, but we're talking about like bloat. Chris and I were talking about this before the stream started. Have you noticed like the insane amount of space some new games take?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I think
Like,
that
ESO takes up 100 gigabytes.
I think the development is speeding up at a rate that storage capacity isn't. And don't get me wrong, it's getting there. I mean, the whole I can't speak too much on this because I'm not an authority, but you can look into it. There was some sham with like the mobile storage industry driving up prices artificially on solid state storage. And that's kind of falling away now, so you're getting to the point where you can actually buy like a 250 gig solid state hard drive for a reasonable price. So, you know, terabytes of space are becoming more viable options in even like we're getting there in the solid state world. And you know, for $50 you can get a terabyte hard drive. As long as you don't mind it being mechanical. With that being said, dear God, we're getting to a point with games being like, I mean, I have more games on Steam than the average person for sure, but my 2 terabyte hard drive is pretty much full. And
Yeah, it's to a point where if I'm not playing it, I delete it.
yeah, and that's the way you have to do it. I have a very like stupid problem. In that, you know, I'm keeping games installed that I don't need to, and that's fine. And the thing is this is where I'm gonna, you know, sound a little dickish. I think it's more of a console problem, because I still have open hard drive bays in my fucking computer. I can spend $50 tomorrow and just drop another fucking 2 terabytes in.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a sign of the times
and that would
when you
literally
actually-
solve my problem for $50.
I think it's a sign of the times when you have Steam users actively suggesting that you get an external hard drive, not for performance, but just for storage capacity.
Right.
Because the library is that thoroughly overbloated.
The fatness.
I think it's less of a problem for the PC audience, honestly.
Indeed.
Hmm.
So anything else we have to talk about Blizzard?
Have any of you guys been keeping up with the story for what's happening in the games recently?
Other than Windrunner being a dick?
Nope.
No,
Okay,
not
so
really.
since I'm the only one keeping up with it, then I guess I'll just Cliff Notes version. The idea that Blizzard is touting morally gray in their story of the Alliance and the Horde going back to conflict after they've been teaming up for how many expansions is completely shallow, meaningless, and just marketing. The story cannot actually deliver on any mark. Not for an old Warcraft fan, not for a current World of Warcraft fan, not for a nostalgic World of Warcraft fan that's still waiting for Classic to come out.
Yeah, like, I was kind of confused that they went this turn, because, like, they just saved for more or less the universe together, and then they're like, okay, back to fighting each other.
Yeah, I mean, I buy this for Sylvanas, but the thing is, she's not the only person in the Horde. She's the war chief. She still has advisors. You have Bane Bloodhoof just rolling over and taking orders. You have, what's his name? Saurfang, who is, at this point, willing to commit suicide by just marching into an Alliance camp single-handed, and that's considered a good cinematic because it excuses the main characters, and I am calling Sylvanas the main character because she's getting so much narrative focus, the main character's own idiocy, rather than making the main character competent or consistent. They're just trying to play catch up because their community is doing more to help the story than the actual developers.
Oof. Man, I'm glad I'm not a Warcraft fan right about now.
Yeah, like I was getting really into Warcraft lore, so like this is kind of like, ouch.
I've
like,
always been really into it, and like even since I stopped playing WoW like a while back, I've still like been kind of like trying to keep up with the lore because I really enjoy it, but like I've honestly just been trying to like ignore this. Like I can't pretend that like it isn't a thing forever, but like just while it's been getting so much coverage and like everyone's talking about it, I'm just like, it's not important for me to like worry about right now.
Agreed.
It's just the death of one of the big defining RTSs and one of the most heavily story-crafted worlds in all of video game fiction, and we're watching it die right before our eyes.
Do you really feel like it's like dying because of this?
I think it's been dead since before 2010 when Pandaria came out. They followed up, oh yeah, a dragon influenced by the creatures that created our entire universe decided to destroy the planet. How do you follow that up? Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, like everyone thought like next like adventure or next expansion was going to be going to
it should have been going to another plane. It should have been Draenor or somewhere else off of Azeroth so you could confront the Titans.
They talked for a while about doing an Emerald Dream expansion, which would have been incredible, but they never did that.
I think that's going to come up whenever they decide to kill off Illidan, because Malfurion almost died before Battle for Azeroth came out. Now Illidan is back because Legion and Warlords of Draenor had a bunch of time travel fuckery. So if there's ever going to be a time for it, it's soon.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, a lot of people thought the next expansion was, I think his name was N'Zoth. They were going to his underwater kingdom.
N'Zoth, Yogg-Saron, you name a Titan, it could have theoretically been them.
Like, that would have been, like, a good follow-up. Like, hey, there's a big-ass scar on Azeroth because a giant-ass blade went through it. Now what are we going to do? I don't know, just fight amongst each other. Ooh, storytelling.
Yeah, the story's going nowhere. I can't care about the characters anymore at this point. And the old tribal alliances, like when Battle for Azeroth got its first trailer, they actually gave the stinger, big climax moment to a healer. I almost cheered for a member of the Alliance. And even now, the fact that it still grounds so deeply into my head after so many years of that franchise that I would even care whether or not it was Alliance or Horde. I just can't wrap my head around what they're doing anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? They might make some changes after seeing all like the negative feedback they've gotten from this.
Oh, well, we're getting the fun stuff of that as always, where people are thinking, oh, they're blaming Sylvanas, therefore misogynists, rather than addressing the actual literature of the problem.
Okay.
So Blizzard's not going to do shit. As long as people are still shelling out for the subscription fee, and they have the community with... I'm trying not to lose my temper. I don't see this getting better. I don't see how it can get better. I think WoW needs to die. We either need Warcraft 4 or WoW 2.0. It's not salvageable at this point.
Plus, it's running on like a really old engine right now too.
Well, I'm really glad you said that about the 2.0 or something like similar, because I was literally thinking like, man, people just need to know when to stop and start something new. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with knowing when something you've created and put a lot of work into has simply run its course.
Yeah,
the story's past its prime. The engine's past its prime. MMOs have evolved beyond WoW. WoW's also the only one left that will charge a subscription, and it is so technically inferior to every other competitor on the market.
Like Guild Wars, I paid like $60 for that game, and like I have a great time for like 2 weeks, and I don't go back to it for another year. But like it's really well put together. especially for like an MMO.
I don't know. I think it's understandable that it's tough to let something go after that long, but to me that should make it all the easier to be like, yeah, we've kind of run our course on this.
Is Final Fantasy 15 the new hot MMO?
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, I don't even know much about MMOs, so my opinion admittedly is shit. But I played it and I really enjoyed it.
There's a sub for that. I don't know how much. It's 15 or 10.
It's cheap. It's like 8,
I know they
think,
have
for one character.
Really?
Yeah.
They do have a crossover with Monster.
They what?
They have a crossover.
Oh yeah.
The same way Monster Hunter recently got a Behemoth event, the Final Fantasy XIV has gotten a Rathalos event.
Yeah.
Chris, do I need to play Final Fantasy to get the Encyclopedia for the PC, or is that just not coming over yet?
I don't know when it's going live for PC, but you did not need it for PlayStation or Xbox, so.
Right, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy, I'm pretty sure it's crossplay for PS4 and PC. You know, you can use controller or keyboard on both, and I know people who love playing anything with mouse and keyboard that use fucking controller for this game. That's how good it apparently is. Like,
really?
they did it right, and I give them a lot of credit because apparently the game sucked at first.
Yeah,
they literally had an in-universe explanation for why they bombed every asset of the original game to shreds.
Yep, and you can still see the scars on the landscape.
They had Bahamut basically ultimate the entire fiction.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if WoW did that. Like, let's just say at the end of Legion, what's his face? Sargeras won. He killed off Earth, blah, blah, blah. He destroyed the universe and restarted everything. That'd be cool. Hey guys, look, new engine. But I feel like that would really piss off a lot of people.
Or you could just fucking write a new world. Like, I know just reboot it, but I mean, like, you don't have to have a fancy explanation.
I think, like, they're just afraid because, like, they know that WoW's been going downhill. And, like, Overwatch
and they don't
was
want to
supposed
fuck
to be
with what they know, absolutely.
Like, Overwatch was going to be their next MMO until they're like, nah, we're going to make a shooter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they even fucking, like, they bitched out on that. Like...
And if they did that with, what was it? Titan something it was called?
Project Titan was originally Overwatch.
Yeah, if they did that with Project Titan, I don't think they're really going to put the time into making another story for a MMO.
They already have 20+ years of contrivance and just a backlog of stuff that is completely conflicting in terms of a narrative, much less a living world that you expect from an MMO.
Struggles are real.
Yeah, I think it might be too late. Like, I've been thinking WoW's been dead for years, and I keep getting tempted to give it a chance, and it keeps disappointing me.
I remember one time you're like, yeah, I was going to play it, but then they just destroyed the healer paladin, so I'm just never going to touch it again.
Oh yeah, it was Warlords of Draenor. I couldn't do shit for my class.
You were so mad. I think that's like the last time you played.
Yeah, and what was it, Legion? They actually made Holy Paladins more powerful. Like, not just average, above average. I couldn't care enough to get back into it because the story was pissing me off so much. Like, when you make my class overpowered, and that's not enough to get me back in because your narrative is so shit, you need to hire a writer.
Yeah.
Not interns.
So that's about it, unless you guys have any bigger thoughts on Activision-Blizzard.
No,
they just kind of... I feel like they're turning to the next EA, where everyone just keeps getting pissed off at them.
Right, except they have infinitely more good faith from their audience.
Oh, hell
so people are going to be like, no, it's Blizzard.
But my Blizzards.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, they're just going to fucking, like, eat Blizzard shit for a while. And, like, I have friends who are, like... How do I put this? They're not weird Blizzard fanboys. They just enjoy Blizzard. That's fine. Not a big deal. But I do think it's...
There was a time where I was really into Blizzard's games. I was, like, all about Blizzard. But then I kind of got disillusioned with them.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, when the most hype anyone has for WoW these days is for the reinstating of the original fucking patch, it tells you something about the state of the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
people are hyped to pay for something that was originally free because it's coming from the official company, even though they're not giving them any information or control over it. Because Blizzard's there's a lot of suckers that are really into Blizzard right now, and I say that streaming Hearthstone. So every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in. They have so many good properties, but they have no good way to control them anymore. They just let the horses run wild, and nobody's reining them in.
To be honest, I thought Heroes of the Storm was a pretty fun, like, casual MMO. I haven't played it in a couple of, like, months, but, like, when I played it, I was like, yeah, like, this is like playing Dota without the stress. It's like playing the Dota Holiday Dire Tide without the stress.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. But I don't know. It kind of just fell off. They got really into, like, the whole loot crate thing, too. So... And they had, like, skins and items that were locked behind loot crates, and you couldn't get them after that. The biggest dick move in history.
Yeah, another MOBA element Overwatch borrowed. Not happy about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think that's it for today, guys.
Yeah,
How long have we been going?
hour and a half.
Like an hour.
We started at 3.
I've been recording for an hour and 21 minutes.
Unless you guys think we can do the Steam flash sale topic quickly, I think we might want to wrap then.
Oh,
yeah,
actually, that's a good idea because it's really not so important. Like, I just want to kind of bring it up.
Are you guys for it or against it?
I mean,
I just want to appreciate the irony that we almost stalled on a flash topic twice.
yeah. Oh, man. No, like, here's my thing. I was actually talking about it with a friend, and we kind of came to the conclusion that it was more my personal stress being a problem than the actual implementation of the sales themselves. I don't like them coming back because it gave me an excuse not to feel like I had to check all day, every day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's kind of unrealistic. As long as, just using easy numbers, let's say a game is discounted from $20 to $15, right? And now with the flash sale, it'll be $20 down to $15 with the possibility to go down to $8. As long as that $15 price point isn't higher with the expectation that, oh, well, people might buy it on flash sales, so we have to make the sales worse, I don't care. Because then I can make the decision as an adult. If I don't have the time to sit there and fucking watch all week, you know, I'll buy it at $5 off instead of $10 off, and I'll be happy. But as long as this, you know, if it makes the sales worse, no, go fuck yourselves, you're being greedy, etc. But, yeah, that's pretty much my feelings on it. I don't know, what about you?
For me,
You first.
yeah, for me, like, I'm cool with it coming back. I've definitely cooled down on how much I bought during the the seasonal sales. But for me, like, if a game I want on sale, I put in the wish list and I get an email coming in like, hey, your game's on sale. So if I see a good deal, I'll grab it.
Well, I heard the same thing, but like, or the same argument, but my problem is, and again, this might just be a me problem, I'm not shitting on Valve for this. I use the wish list as a way to, like, look at anything that I found remotely interesting later on. I don't use it as I'm planning to buy this.
Oh yeah, same thing. I use it to be like, I'm kind of interested. If it goes like 90% sale, I'll grab it. But like past that, whatever.
But that's the thing. During sales, dude, I get emails for like 20 or 30 games plus.
Oh, same here, dude. I was looking at it, I was like, oh god, there's so many.
I only ever spent $60 per summer Steam sale, and I always walk away with like 30+ games.
Right. Well,
It's a
my
hard
thing is,
bargain
like,
to beat.
I loved that the flash sales would be like, oh, instead of paying $10 on sale for this game, pay $5, and it's like a $20 game. Like, that's rad. But at the same time, I really don't like. I'll admit, I'm somebody who suffers from anxiety and things like that, and for me, it was a nice little excuse to not have to, you know, check the store Because, you know, it was the cardinal rule of the Steam sale was don't buy until either a flash sale or the last day, because that's when you know you're getting the best deal. And I'm not going to lie, that set off my anxiety a little bit to the point where I would rather spend a few extra bucks for the peace of mind that I'm getting the best deal.
Yeah, I feel that.
But, you know, I'm not going to whine about it when that's a very personal me problem.
No, I think it was a pro-consumer move on Steam's part to actually get rid of the flash sales before, because it was a very unreliable market. We're not going full loot box coin, but still the idea that the customer could be screwed over on the basis of timing. I figured that they got rid of this at the same time as they implemented the refund policy, because they realized that it would be abused heavily during Steam sales.
Right.
But apparently it's not a major concern at this point, because the refund policy is still in place, but they're also considering flash sales returning.
Right,
Yeah, I feel
and
like
didn't they say that, like, if you use the refund option, like, too many times, that they could flag your account?
Yeah, and your refunds would be put under watch, or rather than being automated, they would be put under a case-by-case basis.
Like, this is the same shit with Amazon. Like, apparently, if you use Amazon's returns too much, they can ban you from returning things.
Yeah, like, it's not my fault if you shatter a case for a DVD I bought. I have to return it either way.
Well, okay, there's a two-sided problem with this, right? Number one, it is it's a problem because Amazon, dude, I have a pretty crappy post office. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Our employees, a lot of them are very nice, but a lot of them are very rude and don't care about their job. So that being said, I've had packages lost, destroyed, damaged, the whole 9 yards. Often enough where I don't know Amazon's numbers for, like, oh, you know, you're returning too many things. So I don't know if I'm risking being a part of that market. And then on top of that, you know, like anyone else, I get a product that kind of sucks and Amazon promises me I can return it. I'm going to use that. So between that and having a shitty post office, when am I going to be public enemy number one at the Amazon offices? You told me I can return anything for any fucking reason, and now they're going, shit, people are doing it more than we thought they would. How did you not expect this? You tell people you can buy and return fucking anything. Guess what they're going to do? Buy and return fucking anything.
The thing is that their storefront is not actually profitable because they have such competitive pricing. Amazon is fluid on the basis of their subscription services, whether it's Amazon Prime, Amazon Video, Music, you name it.
Well, that's the other thing,
really,
though. I'm a Prime member. So are they really going to start flagging me when I'm the one buying the most stuff on their storefront?
Yeah, I mean, there's word through the grapevine that Amazon Prime members are given more discretion than the non-subscription members. However,
which I don't even think is that unfair, to be honest with you. I think that's relatively reasonable.
I mean, you pay for a membership, you pay for additional considerations. I get it.
Yeah.
The thing is that there's no concrete information on it because Amazon does not want to give out the additional details on how much is too much for their return policy.
Yeah, and I think that's really unfair to the consumer because you're telling them, we're watching you. We're not telling you for what, but we're watching you. It really, really pisses me off. Like,
and all credit to Amazon, I've only had 1, maybe 2 packages per year get damaged.
Well, that's
So,
not Amazon's fault, nor is it their problem, though. You know what I mean?
Every time that I have had damaged property, sometimes it takes longer than others to get a proper response back, but I have either gotten a refund or a replacement every time.
No, they've been cool to me about it, too, but the bottom line is, like, Amazon is... It's not in their actions, it's more so they scare me with their intentions, right? Like, they used to give you just money off of a new game if you were a Prime member and if it was shipped through Amazon. Now it's only if you're pre-ordering.
I think this all comes down to transparency or a lack thereof, which is getting people concerned. Like, not just Amazon, but in terms of the Steam summer sales with flash sales. People wouldn't mind if summer sales existed if they knew what was going live and when. I mean, even if you advertised all the flash sales ahead of time, all that would probably do is just better prepare Steam for their server traffic.
Wait, say that last part again, I'm sorry.
the idea of advertising the specific flash sales before they happen would not only lessen the anxiety for certain customers, but it would also better prepare the company for their own server stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't have people constantly refreshing and using up bandwidth, hogging up all the server space. You have people going at precisely coordinated times for exactly what they want. You lose the window shoppers, but your core installed consumer base is more firmly entrenched than ever before.
And let's face it, that's really who they're making their money on, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, the most profitable part of Steam summer sales is people buying games in bulk they're never going to play just so they can add them to the library.
Right.
And I'm not just talking trading cards here. I'm talking about people who are perpetually in a state of backlog for their games.
No, exactly. And I don't know. I just think that telling consumers that, like, you know, now I'm talking about the refund policy, like, what's the deal here? The whole point was I could buy with confidence and therefore be more likely to keep more games. You know, it's not my problem if the Steam store has a ton of fucking games that can be beaten in 2 hours and then refunded. The real issue is, you know, you introduced this, you made it sound like it would be a way for your consumers to buy with confidence and say, oh, well, now I can check out a game, and if I end up hating it, I can use it to buy something else. You know, even if they just refund it to your Steam wallet, I think that's still fair, because, well, you didn't feel like you wasted 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks.
And I have to say this, Valve was very proactive when it was discovered certain games on their service were basically glorified scams to use host computers as crypto mining rigs.
Right.
They refunded and they delisted the games in question. So I think the only reason this is rubbing people as a strange move is because Valve has been getting a lot of good press lately, and with good reason. So this just seems like it's not good strategically, or word. It's not good in terms of media. It's not good in terms of word of mouth or critically. It just seems like a strange strategy that they're trying to regress slightly.
Yeah, well, and I think that they had the same problem as Amazon. They made a huge promise to consumers. In Amazon's case, it was money off of new games and no frills returns. And in Steam's case, it was no frills returns within a certain criteria set. And they both said, wait, shit, bad, no, fuck, we fucked up. And instead of saying, well, we owned it and we're going to give you clear outlines as to how we're going to change it, they fucking said, okay, look, nerds, stop fucking us or we're going to fuck you back. But we don't know what constitutes fucking them.
Yeah, and this Valve does not come pre-lubricated either.
No, it does not.
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts a little because I get what it looks like in terms of the spontaneous market response. People are going to rush for the product in the event of a flash sale, but I don't think that's a reliable plan for trying to court your consumer base.
No, I agree, because everyone's going to be like, oh, god damn it, I fucking worked my ass off at a job and I couldn't get on break to go on my phone and buy a game. Or, oh, god damn it, I was asleep because of my, you know, my work and school shifts. Or, oh, god damn it, I just wasn't on my fucking computer. Like, granted, you can't make every sale. That's valid. 100%. I've missed billions of sales, I'm sure. But
I think it was.
I knew I was missing them at least.
I actually just missed one that I was really into. I was doing the expo, and there was a Paradox sale for Europa Universalis, and I've been telling you how expensive that stuff is.
Yeah.
So, I've been waiting for a sale. It happened while I was at expo, and by the time I got back, it was over. I was like, well, I guess I'll wait for the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least you knew there was a sale you were missing. It wasn't like, oh,
yes.
Did you hear about that 1 hour flash sale? Or I think it's like
Wait, what?
It has to be like 4, 6, 8, or 24 hours in the new Steam rules. But like, still, man, I'm not trying to like rush to my fucking phone or computer to buy a game.
Yeah. Like, also, I feel like that's also very anti-consumer, because you're kind of like twisting the consumer's arm, be like, hey, don't you want on sale? Don't you?
And like,
Go buy
you could make that argument about regular sales too, as like it's enticing somebody to buy a game. But I mean,
Yeah, but
I'm not
usually they have,
against
like,
the concept of a flash sale. Just like, I don't know, flash sale can still mean for 6 hours with pre-notice. Just give me notice.
You just look at Sony or Microsoft. They have quote-unquote flash sales on their consoles now, but they last for 72 hours.
Right, like that to me is fair because it's still short and it's still like super quick, but
It gives you time to think.
Yeah, it's basically a weekend to review the sale.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like how Steam does the free weekends for some games, and they also come with like a 50% off price tag.
Yeah, like that makes more sense. But you know what? At the end of the day, Steam sales are still going to be a solid deal, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna have to see where it goes. We'll come back to this topic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right,
Well, I think that was good. Good show, guys.
it's been real.
Indeed.
It's been fun. Have a good
Bye.
one.
Bye.
See you guys next week.